Hey guys, so I'm back into Path of Exile after taking a really long break. It's currently on 3.10 version 3.10 with Delirium League, and that started on around the first quarter of March. And so I'm a bit late to the party, obviously, because it's already April. But what I wanted to do was give you guys a quick start guide on Path of Exile, either if you're a returning player or if you're a new player that has no idea what they're doing. Because to be honest, if you just Google, like, you're coming from another game like Diablo and you just Google a build, it's far more complicated than it looks. Even for me coming back to the game after like a year's break, it's still a little bit overwhelming just trying to refresh myself with all the mechanics. So yeah, just down to the basics. First, you want to set up your menu. As you can see here, there's options to disable certain things. I've left all that default. But here in UI, you want to adjust some of this stuff. So you might want to turn screen shake off because that can actually affect your gameplay. It makes the game harder because it's like shaking when you're trying to kite stuff. And you can see here, center map. You can adjust your map to have terrain or not, which you might find it a bit too intrusive. I like just to have the blue lines, and because the blue lines are what your boundaries are anyway. And then the map zoom, I'm on ultra wide on a 34-inch monitor, so of course you're gonna have to just adjust this for your taste. I like to have the map a little bit in because when you clear, like when you're in a really big map, you'll find if you have it like this, it'll go off the screen, and if you have it zoomed out, obviously you're gonna be able to see the whole thing, so you can actually see where you are a bit better. And then there's turning off all the chats that are pretty intrusive. You might want timestamps in chat though. And show the clock maybe. Where is the clock? I don't know. Somewhere. And advanced mod descriptions. Not that important. Mouse wheel zoom. If you find yourself accidentally zooming in and out like that while you're playing, you might accidentally end up with your character zoomed and you haven't realized it's zoomed in a bit for visibility, so you can turn that off if you want. And the other important thing is down here at the bottom, the chat width, the chat adjustments, but this on default was none. Item filters basically get rid of all the trash items, so items that you're not necessarily going to want or need. And you can still hold Alt to make them appear, but what this will do is it'll filter out all the trash and it'll just show the really good stuff. And then you want to also have show, where is it? It's somewhere here. There's an option to show items that at all times highlights, always highlight. So instead of holding Alt all the time, you won't have to hold Alt. See how the stash and the waypoint, everything here. If I don't know if I can do this here. No, it won't let me. If there's items on the ground, if they're in your filter, like if they're a good item to pick up, it'll appear. But if they're trash, like a white item, it'll be invisible until you press Alt. So you still have to press Alt for picking up really bad stuff, but this helps a lot because you're not wasting your time tapping Alt while you play. So this is the editing mode. Sorry, I'm gonna get it out of here. This is just my hideout, which we'll get into later. Maybe I'll do a guide on hideouts, but we'll see how this video goes. So after you've set up your UI, one other important thing is if you're playing and you notice your sound get choppy at any point, not necessarily turning channel count to medium or high, but turning off reverb can help. At least it helped with my older 6th Gen i7 and my Z170 board. Obviously, it's just got the onboard sound. I can't afford a good sound card yet, but reverb was causing a lot of choppiness in my sound when I'm in higher end content. So yeah, you can also reverb disable, and then with graphics, I've left all mine default. But I'm playing at a higher resolution, so I don't necessarily need to turn up the anisotropic, as some people say you need it for clarity. It looks fine to me, and I honestly can't really tell the difference with ×2 and ×16. For FPS drop, you might want to also enable, which is enabled by default, but leave this enabled. Even though you want maximum clarity, you also don't want to have really bad FPS drop, and this will scale the resolution down to stop the FPS dropping under 60. So that's awesome. You want that, and ideally you want to keep your engine multi-threading enabled. Okay, so that's it for the menu stuff. You can have your FPS caps on. I only really care about the background FPS cap when I'm alt-tabbing, because it's like, why run it at, if you're running in windowed mode for faster alt-tabbing, why run it at 60 FPS while you're not even looking at it? You could even drop that down to 30, but I just left it on 60. And I think that's it for the UI. And then to get started on the important stuff. First off, when you start a new character, you're going to want to find a build. Like, obviously, you've probably played other action RPGs before, or maybe this is your first time, but the build basically dictates how the playstyle of your character. So you might want to be a close combat warrior, you might want to be an archer, or you might want to be a wizard, like a mage type of character, or a hybrid combination. But basically, because of the, like, as you can see, this massive skill tree here that's really overwhelming to new players. I can't zoom out any further. But this skill tree, which I'll just go into Path of Building, this is an app that I'm going to tell you to download, is massive. But it contains all the other classes too. So you can actually, like, another class might start over here, another race. Like, because see, I've picked Marauder as my class, and then I've gone into the Berserker, which is it's more of a, the deeper you get into a build, you can unlock extra upgrades. You can see here Berserkers over here. But every race or class has these extra, I think it's called, I can't remember the exact term. It should be, I don't know if it says it here. Pantheon upgrade. Anyway, it's something you unlock later in the game, and it basically gives you do a labyrinth, like a maze, and you complete it, and it gives you extra skills that you can spec into to further customize your build. Like, you can see there's different benefits for all the different ones. Like, some of them have more fire damage, different types of durability to enhance your character's health. But the main point is that you don't want to get overwhelmed with this big tree just because it shows all the different branches. So you could be a slayer and your branch is like over here somewhere, and it puts you closer to different skills. Or you can mix a hybrid where you branch out really far and go into another tree just to get a certain skill. But that's not so important, because ideally, well, you can do it for fun, but it's going to slow down your progression a lot. I don't recommend just building it as you go. You can, and you can respec. So later on, you might decide that this build is weak, I'm going to respec, and you get respec points and items in the game that can help you to do that. Like, see, as I've played through to level 73, I've got 18 refund points so far, and that means I can take away these and put them somewhere else. But I use up my points. And then there's items in the game, which I've collected 20 orbs of scouring, Orb of Regret, which give you refund points. So you can literally just, if you make a lot of in-game money, like in-game currency from drops, you can literally just buy a bunch of Orb of Regret and do a complete reset, a complete respec if you ever want to. But for the purpose of getting good at PoE, which is, I'm sure everyone wants to know how to do, especially casual players that don't have enough time to sink in like hundreds of hours into getting good, I recommend finding a build that someone's already theory crafted online. So basically, because of all the mechanics, there's certain combinations of gems and passives within the tree that really complement each other, and then there's certain items that will complement those things. Wait, what does this guy want? Val Righteous Fire? One moment. Sorry, this is a trade. I'll show you this as well. Yeah, level 12, here he is. There you go. Probably getting ripped off there, it's worth a bit more, but okay. The main currency is actually Chaos Orbs, and then it goes into the really expensive Exalted Orbs, which I've got none of, because this is a 3-day-old character. So I started 3 days ago on Delirium League, which is, you know, season. So when every season you can't use your old characters get shifted into standard, and then you have to roll a new season character and basically start from scratch for that season. So it kind of resets things and lets people be competitive because there's a ladder and stuff. But basically, this is 3 day old. The only thing that I carried over was my item skins, cosmetics, which you can carry between all characters. and then my stash tabs, which I paid for premium tabs. I bought a pack ages ago, and they basically give more convenience for organizing your items so that you don't have to like basically fit all of this into separate stacks that would take up a window like this, just in rows. So it gives you more room too, because stacks can be much bigger. So I highly recommend the currency stash tab, but I'm not like actively trying to make people buy things in this game, because I'm bare bones. Like if you look at my microtransactions, I don't have any skills. I've only got these 3 skins, and they 2 of them were from League, 1 was from the budget. There's like a first package you can buy, the cheapest one you can buy for the in-game currency. I bought that when I unlocked my maps, some of my map tabs. So anyway, aside from that, I do recommend buying these, but I'll show you how to do it later. The more important thing is you, instead of wasting your time trying to do a build on your own, which you can do later, like when you're rich, but I recommend getting rich first, which is you're going to be able to do that the best by finding a good starter build that's already been, basically someone's gone through all the trouble, the PoE YouTubers, that they upload awesome builds. Someone's gone through all the trouble to find the strongest combinations of gems and skills and passives, so that you don't have to spend countless hours doing it yourself. So if you look online here, if I just search PoE 3.10, which is the version we're up to, build, it comes up with all different types of builds that you can look for. And to be honest, there are lots of strong combinations. It just depends on what you find interesting. For me, I've always enjoyed Whirlwind, and this is from Diablo 2 days. And in Diablo 3, I still played Whirlwind, and in PoE, it's called Cyclone. But there's all different nice builds that you can try. You can search like magic builds, there's trapper builds, there's lightning, elementalist builds. But just for the purpose of how to do this, you just search what you want. You might pick elementalist and get that to come up, right? These different ones. Find one you like, and then it'll load up. Like the guy will have an explanation, but the important part, like obviously watch the build, because it'll tell you. They'll usually describe how the builds work, which is important if you want to modify them for your own usage. But ideally, you want to find a build that shares the paste bin for Path of Building, which is a separate application that, because see, this is tedious. If you look here, I can't make a build by respecking, and I can't see what a build stats are going to be like just by, I'd have to make a new build every single time I want to try a different combination. That's impossible. There's an application called Path of Building, so just search that. And releases, and just download. You just click that zip or the exe to install it. I've got the zip file, and basically the zip is just all contained in one folder that you can delete later. But the exe is just installing it to somewhere on your drive. So unzip that and run it, and you'll get a program like this, and it'll be blank. And this is the important part when you're looking for a build, because like just pretend you're a first timer, you don't know what you're doing. You just want to find a good build. Make sure there's a paste bin link in the description somewhere. And if there's not, it doesn't mean that the guy's it's a bad build, but it means it's going to be a lot harder to copy exactly what the build does, because you're going to have to manually, like, see this? Like, no offense to the dude, but this is hard to memorize, and no one's going to write that down. Or you'd have to manually enter it into your Path of Building just to remember all this stuff. There's too much. So if we look over here, not this guy, I just click the same one again. You want to find a paste bin. So see that paste bin link there? That will get me the build. So this build is Explosive Arc. Just as an example, he probably goes through it and explains it all and how it works. Hopefully he's fit some gameplay in here. So find a build that looks fun to play. So you can see here, there's some stuff happening, and it shoots explosive spells and looks pretty cool. But his skin and stuff, that the wings and everything, that's his skins that he's paid for. So once you found your build that you want, open Path of Building, and this is like the first thing you want to do, because you want to have this all planned out. It's a little bit of planning, but at least I'm giving you a fast forward introduction instead of you have to figure it all out yourself. So you go new, and it'll be a blank one, and then you go to import and export build, and go to import from pastebin, and then you copy the pastebin link that was in the video description. Did I even copy that properly? Oh no, he's just... What on earth? Did he even put a proper pastebin link? It looks like he hasn't. I don't know if he's done a proper pastebin. Okay. So we'll go back to the first page. Like you can find it, you just have to do a little bit of searching for the build you want that's got a proper pastebin. I know Phoenix, which is where I got my Cyclone build, does put proper links in his videos. So it should be like that, pastebin. Sorry. So once you've got your pastebin link, copy it, and then paste it into here, and import. And that'll basically give you the complete, all the items. It'll have a proper calculation of the kind of DPS the build can do. If I set it to... Wait, did I import this properly? Oh, after you import from pastebin, you paste it there, import. It'll find it, and then you click this import button. Sorry. So import. So now I can see his 3.10 build. So then I already know what kind of gem he's got. Like, don't worry about these gems at the moment, actually. It's a passive upgrade where you can put an item into a slot that will give you more passives, or just have special stats like this gem over here. But look at the top. It's not all the writing underneath that's important. It's the very top below the name of the gem. So the writing in blue is what the gem stats are. The rest is just showing you all different stats that it's giving you and what removing it will do. So because it's affecting, there's synergy with different items in his inventory, right? So that's what the gem does. It affects all of that. So that's just it's giving you a detailed explanation. I think there's an option to turn that off somewhere in, I don't know where it is, in the pastebin settings. But basically the important part is you want to have your tree and your starting point. So your starting point will be around these red, blue, green. And so you literally just start here. That's all you got to worry about. Don't worry about the rest of the stuff. At level 1, you're going to be here. And at level 2, you're going to be here. And you're just going to have to follow it through. And then the place where you get a choice is at this point. See at this intersection? So basically, you could decide you want to go for more damage straight away, or you want to go for evasion rating, armor, and max life if you're dying a lot, because obviously you're going to be on beginner gear. And let's just pretend that even if these builds are really expensive, they cost like 10 exalted, which is a lot of in-game currency. We're going to pretend we don't have any money, because I had no money going into this 3 days ago. I had no currency. So you have to basically tailor your build to fit your gear. If you're dying a lot, go for the change. Like, you could be going this way and then you realize you're dying a lot. You might suddenly start getting max life in your next level, because every level you get another passive. So just go for what you need and look around a little bit, like mouse over and go, okay, should I go for max life? Don't bother with gems early because you're not going to have any. Or should I head over this way and go for skewering, which is more attack speed and damage, or brinksmanship? And another thing you can do is you might see something you really need. For example, as a Cyclone build, which is Whirlwind, it's a melee close combat build, and I was running out of mana because my gear is really crappy. I was running out of mana around level 40, and I branched out and grabbed Spirit Void, which is just over here. So you can check stuff nearby. Like, you're not locked into the build, because you do get a certain amount of respec points that you can undo it later. So once I have better gear, I'll take away Spirit Void and go towards something more expensive like these gem sockets, because I'll have the gems and stuff by that point. But I'm at level 72. I still haven't gotten even close to getting good gems yet. I haven't been lucky enough. But the main point is that you need to know that you need to tailor. You can't copy a really expensive build and copy the passives and expect to do well when your gear is average. You have to slightly modify stuff, like this as an example, the Spirit Void, and there's even a life one if you don't have life leech on your gear. And yeah, so there's that. And also Valpack can be really good. You lose your regeneration, but you also double your life leech per second. So if you're dying a lot, but it depends on your build. Other builds have different ways to regen, and there's going to be passives over here that'll help a caster, and passives that'll help different and elementalist, different types of builds. So once you know that, then the next thing you want to look at is on here's Bandit. That's a choice in the game. It actually does tell you which choice you need to make to match this build. So all the paste bins should have that. and then you want to go to skills, and the way that skills work in Path of Exile is they're tied to your items. So your items have a certain amount of sockets, and your skill gems go into those sockets, and using that item with the skill gem in it is what gives you your abilities. So it's not like a skill tree like these. This tree is all passives. There's no active skills in here that'll give you powers. All your powers are to do with your gems, and you start off with like one gem, a really basic gem, and you find gems as you go. And the deeper you get into the game, the more skills you unlock, and you just make your own combinations. But obviously, for the purpose of this build, of doing a build from online, you're already going to have all these details, so you know which gems you want, and you just get them when you can. And so just progress through the storyline, have fun with whatever gems you find, whatever combinations you find, and just work on following the passives. And sorry, my son's just in the room. And you just basically go through, and you can see here. So for example, the ways that you look at this is this group here on this area. This is all the skill combinations. So your main skill might be, for me it's Cyclone, so I already know it's Cyclone build. So I can see Cyclone here. If I click that, it'll tell me what type of item it's in. So it's in the body armor, because that's the one of the only 6-piece items you can get other than two-handed weapons. And then it tells me all the supporting gems or gem combinations that go along with it. So but the main one is Cyclone, and getting the way that items work in this game, skills I should say, is when you find an item like this, you can find it like this is a high level chest piece, so it's got many sockets. It can have up to 6, but there's a few things you need to know. So one is the color of the sockets, that dictates what color gems can go in it. 2 is the links to the sockets, and that dictates whether a gem can support it or not. So this is a skill gem, that's my Cyclone that goes here. If there's no link, then this supporting gem that increases my critical strike chance, cannot support without a link. So it needs a linked blue. But it doesn't matter where it is, the blue could be down here or wherever it is, as long as it's linked. So I can put a supporting red gem down here. And there's items in the game that let you create the links, you pick them up as you go. Orbit Fusing will reforge links, but it's random, so a 6 links armor, unless you find it already linked, is really hard. You have to like use a lot of Orbit Fusing, so don't waste it on trash. Like when you're picking up low level items, don't just create a link, because unless it's like a 3 or 4 socket, a 4 or 2 or 4 socket item, like just a low amount of sockets, then it's much easier. And there's also these items in the game called Whetstone and Armor Scrap that let you upgrade the quality. If you boost an item's quality before you start trying to create links or sockets in it, it will get a better chance at creating those links and sockets. So for example, with this, I might try, if this was not linked at all, I might try like using one after the other to create links, and it might put 2 links here and none over here. And then I'll try it again, and it might put, the links will change and move around, and it's just random. You have to be really lucky to land a 6 link. You might get 5 link and then one's not linked. So just be aware that there's an RNG to that, and it just depends on your luck. But it's probably better to learn how to use PoE trade, save your chaos, and just find the 6 link that you need. Like for example, I paid 5 chaos for this armor. That it's not a really good armor. It's just for the links to get my skills working, my synergy for my gems. But before I traded for this, the 5 chaos online, I literally was just using a crappy 4 link that I found, and I forged the 4 links just using a few Orbit Fusing. And I was using that with, the most important part was just that I could fit my Cyclone in, and then I only had the 3 supporting skill gems because I couldn't fit 6. So I just used what I was available. You don't have to get every single supporting skill gem early in the game. It's only for later game, like level 40, 50 plus, that you want to try to start working on getting your combination set up for your synergy of your build. So as you can see, my weapons still aren't done, because they need 2 green and a blue and 2 red and a blue, which isn't, I couldn't get the color on this one. And to change colors, there's also another item. It's called Chromatic Orb. So just as an example, this is how annoying it can be. You right click it and then hold shift and left click, and it'll change the colors, and you just gotta hope it lands on the color combination you want. And you can literally spend like 100 chromatic orb if you're really unlucky, especially with some of the bigger amount of sockets. And same with sockets, like you might find a really good armor or a unique that's got 4 sockets. You can add sockets with Jeweler's Orb, but it's random, so you might spend like 50 Jeweler's Orb trying to get 6 sockets. And it also depends on the item level. Not all items can reach the max level of sockets. So early game, I think the gloves can only be 2 or 3 socket, and you got to get later game gloves to get 4 socket gloves. So don't waste your time like trying to do it because you can't. Like early level, I would just save your jeweler orbs for at least level 50, 40 or 50, depending on the type of item. So yeah, that was lucky though, because I'm only missing Enlighten, which is a gem that's really hard to get. So I can either save Chaos and buy my Enlightens on PoE trade, or just hope that I find them eventually with the cards, because it's another mechanic I got to teach you. But cards drop in the game and they do different things. And when you get a full set of cards, you can basically trade them or activate them at this guy, the NPC in the game, and then it gives you a reward for that set of cards. So some of them give items, some give you certain things, currency. Some don't even tell you. You have to Google what they do. And yeah, so there's certain cards that let me get the gem that I want, but it's still a RNG. Like it gives a gem. It can give me the really like hard to find gem in Enlighten support, but yeah, it's RNG. So otherwise, saving currency would actually save me the most time to do that. I'll leave this guy's party. Okay, so now that I've explained that, so early game, just go through whatever gems you find, have fun, and just follow the passive tree to save yourself having to use too many of your. You can see here these refund points, because you'll get these slowly as you level up. You don't want to go down a different tree, like a completely different build than what you're planning to do, than your path of building, because then you might not have enough refund points. And then you can still do it. You can still do a full respec from a leveling build to your main build, but that's only if you're a bit more intermediate and you kind of know what you're doing. Like you might look for a leveling build, and you could have the paste bin for that, and work on that first, do your leveling build, and then switch to your main build after. But for the purpose of this guide, I actually just followed a high-end build, end game build. Not this one. I followed this one here, Cyclone Berserker Marauder, and you can see it goes here. That's what it looks like. And all I did was I basically went for DPS first. I even branched, like from this point, I went down and I skipped all the HP buffing and accuracy stuff. Accuracy is what you need late game for melee builds, for close range builds. But I basically branched all the way down here, skipping all the really, there's some good defense that you need to stop yourself dying. But I went for max DPS because early game you can actually do pretty well with max DPS. You don't need that much survivability. And I went all the way up to here and got disemboweling was one of the first that I got after this point. And then I went and grabbed Diamond Skin and some of the other. I still don't have Eagle Eye and Soul of Steel, and I went and grabbed some of the survivability as I needed it. So if I started dying, my next points all went into like health or vitality or something that'll help me survive. And then once my survivability was good, I went back into looking for the DPS passives to upgrade. So that so my level 70, I'm level 73, and this is all from solo gameplay, just playing through the story and doing the new content like the Delirium Shaper. It's like Shaper Realms if you've played the previous seasons. But you can see here, I've basically been branching out into DPS. I went even for this one early, and it's really far away. But this is part of the build here that has Mana Leech, and I branched into that because my mana kept going down. I couldn't survive. I couldn't keep my mana max high enough to keep whirlwinding. So that's the whirlwind skill. So I branched into that, and later when I get better gear, I'll just take that away and respec it into what the build's supposed to be. So yeah, that's how path of building works. And you look at your skills here, you find out what item you need, so it'll tell you. But stuff like, for example, gloves and boots, they're both 4-socket items. If you can get, if I have like a 3 red and 1 green boots, I can put the gems into that. It'll work the same as if it's in gloves. So, oh wait, I just changed what it's. Don't change this. Just select over here. So you can see here boots are meant to have portal, blasphemy, vulnerability, and blood rage, and I'm pretty sure my boots are my leap slam, faster attacks, leap slam, fortify, and I haven't finished this because I don't have a portal gem. But the synergy for portal is not important. There's some skills or some builds will even tell you if they don't need the links. Like you can see here that these all have to be linked. But let's see. When you highlight stuff, so it's here. For example, this is just an example. Cyclone, if I highlight Cyclone, all of the supporting gems highlight. And then if I go to Pride Vitality, if I Enlighten is the one that needs to link to the Pride and the Vitality because it boosts both of them. In this, you just mouse over and see. So Enlighten needs to be linked to these two to support them. And here, Leap Slam is the main one. These support gems don't need to link, but they all have to link to Leap Slam. So that's the main skill. So if I highlight Leap Slam, I can see that I need 4 links. And then if I'm here, Portal doesn't need anything. Blasphemy links to Vulnerability. So really, I only need 2 links. I could have a 4 socket with any color, because Portal, there's some gems that are just like white. They can go into any socket. Blasphemy and Vulnerability. So if I had just the 2 links, the red and the blue, it wouldn't matter if the green and I wouldn't need to make sure it's a 4 link item. And then I just need to link the red and the blue. So that's just so that you guys can understand. Cast when damage taken doesn't link to Val Molten Shell. That's a manual activation, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Unless there's a certain level. Require level 64 or lower. This needs level 64. I wonder if No, it just doesn't support it. Maybe they changed that mechanic or something. I don't know. Anyway, you can just see there though what synergies need links, so that can give you an idea. And then if there's extra skills that are separate, it comes from items. It'll tell you like this comes from a certain ring. So I don't have those. They're super expensive. So that's how the skill gems work. I would definitely work on try to get your main skill, but you might not always be able to get it early. Just have fun with random items until you get into a point where you can actually, for example, Act 3 is the act where you can get most of the skill gems. So in Act 3, so you might just have fun with random gear that you find and just use random skills, because the skills don't the gems level up, but it doesn't matter because you can take those gems out and save them or use them for another build. As you can see here, that's where the build levels come from. You see my Cyclone's level 10, and some level up slower than others. So you can see the gem levels there, level 17, the support gems. This is a Val Cyclone though that I just found, so that's why it's low level. But basically have fun, and then once you reach Act 3, go to the library, and there's a quest inside the library. You'll find a ghost that needs help finding books, finding missing pages or something. Do that quest, and then you can trade him later, and he has almost all of the gems in the game are in his. They cost different things, like Scroll of Wisdom for a lot of them, which is nice, but some cost like Orb of Transmutation. But hopefully you'll have all the mats you need as long as you haven't been wasting them to buy the gems you need for your build. Okay, so that's where you go. Basically, Act 3, and it's just do the normal quest. You'll eventually get to a point where you're doing stuff in the Imperial Gardens, and it's connected to the Imperial Gardens is the library. Okay, so that's around level 30-ish. You'll be able to go and unlock that, and that'll let you get started on your build. And I think I was literally using one of the first skill gems I got from Act 1, which was Molten. It's a melee attack skill, Molten something or other. What's it called? I can actually find it here. Molten Strike, and it's an AoE attack. I was literally using that all the way to level 30. It's just one of the first, and I just put it in. Every time I found a better weapon, I would just use the better weapon and swap the Molten Strike into it. And there's a couple of supporting gems that you get early in the game. I think Ruthless was one of them, and I just had like 1 or 2 supporting gems along with the Molten Strike in my weapon, and then my other gear was just whatever I could fit. I had a movement skill. There's a blue movement skill that I got as a. I think I found it, but you can also buy them in Act 1. You'll slowly unlock gems from the vendors that will. The repertoire of available gems at this vendor here will slowly get bigger and bigger. So you can see here in second tab, there's all these random skills. So you can like find something, oh, that'll help me level up, or that'll help with my movement. There was like a frost teleport that I was using for ages, frost blink, and I was spamming that stuff because it helped with the movement. It's on a cooldown, but it's similar to leap slam, which G.Skill uses at endgame. And yeah, so preferably while you're leveling to level 30 or so to get your main skills, you mainly just want a good AoE attack, like Molten Strike, and then a movement skill like Frost Blink or whatever you can find. What's the green one called? Not that. Dash. So quickly teleports, and then you hold shift to move, like to cast it on your, if you want it on your left click or your whatever click. If it's on your left click, you can hold shift to cast it, and then you have your attack damage skill on your right click or whatever you're using. You can just have it as one of your QDW, Q or whatever. So that's just basics for leveling up. But if you just follow that, that's what I did. And if your build is pretty decent, you should be able to spec into damage but also maintain some survivability, and that should get you through to a point where you can actually start working on your build properly and getting all your gems. Like I was running 4 socket chest piece for ages and only running 2 or 3 socket on my helm for ages. And basically after 3 days of playing, I think yesterday, that's when I looked at my chaos, and just from questing and doing the storyline, I had about 15 chaos total, and I just use those to go to poetrade.com, which is linked to the game, by the way. So all the listings on PoE Trade, as you can see here, all the listings on PoE Trade are connected to the game. So I'll just show you how to use this real quick so that you can actually, do this stuff. So as I progressed through the game, I slowly got materials and collected Chaos Orbs. So I was at 15 the other day from playing up to level 60-ish. So I'm level 73 now. And I go to poe.trade, if this site will load. And basically it's already set up. All you got to do is, if you're looking for example, 4-link, and it's gloves. 4-link gloves, and then you can select the colors if you want it to be one red, 2 green, and 1 blue, just as an example. And then you just go down here and click search. Don't worry about all this other random stuff because you're just trying to get your sockets and links for your skills. So you might only even need, like say I put 4 links, you might only need 2 links. So you might have 2 and it's a red and a blue, and then but you need it to be minimum 4 sockets because you've got other gems that don't need links, right? And so you can see that how I've done it, and then you click search. And so that's how this works. That's how the trade system in PoE, it's really good compared to some other games, because you can actually filter and look, and it shows you when the people were online last, 2 days ago, 19 hours, but these people are online right now. It's just showing that when they listed it. So for example, this guy just wants 1 jeweler's orb for this glove, and it's not a really good glove. This one's much better for 1 blessed orb, which is just materials you find in the game. Find the one that you need, that's not overpriced. Like obviously chaos orbs, you might not want to spend chaos straight away. Most of these mats are really cheap, but this is just to get your links set up, and then you can work on finding better versions of those gloves and link combinations as you get stronger. So if you like this, like that you want to buy it, all you got to do is click Whisper, left click, it copies it to your clipboard. You go back into the game, press enter, Control V, and that copies the entire thing. Like it literally copies the username of the seller and tells them what location in their stash it's in, and it's like a pre-constructed message, and message that to them. And if they're online and they read it, they will invite you to a party, and then after they invite you to the party, they'll come up here on the right, and you right click their name, and it'll have an option for visit hideout. And either you visit their hideout. I've had some players that'll actually go straight to my hideout, even though I'm the one that asked to trade them. And like to go to your hideout, you just go to the waypoint, visit hideout. And hideout's like a personal place where you can customize, put decorations, and it's just like your own. Think of it as an instance. It's your personal instance that people can join. So they could be in a map, and they go to their waypoint, or they right-click your name, teleport to your hideout. Once they're done with you, they click waypoint, go back to whatever act they were in, back to the main town, and their teleport is still active. They can just go straight back into their game. So it's kind of like, it's awesome that they can just connect to any player, go to their hideout, and then go straight back to their single-player content that they were doing. So that's just so you're aware. Also, if you're on the receiving end, to be a seller, all you need to do is have your premium, at least one premium tab. So the premium tabs in the shop, you can see here, you can either buy currency, like straight up currency. There's a currency option somewhere, specials. Oh no, I think you got to buy it from their main website. Like there's packages for currency. So I don't know if I can find it here. Buy points. So that opens up their website. There's different packages. I think the only package I've ever bought was the cheapest one, the first blood pack, which was 20 USD, and that's all I've spent. And then it gives you 200 points, which I used on sale to unlock stash tabs. So I think I bought the premium stash tab bundle, which is 6 premium tabs, and wait a second, no I didn't. Because I know I've got currency tab as well. Maybe I paid extra, like I bought a few more points at a separate time. But all you really need, like you can see here, I've got these special tabs here. One's for currency, one's for maps, which is late game content. I won't get into that now. One's for these essence, which is lets you upgrade normal items to have special, like turns them into rares with certain modifiers. And then cards, which cards you can trade for certain. If you get a full stack of cards, you can basically get a Chaos Orb or different things. So they're the special tabs that I've got. But the premium tabs are just these colored ones here with the numbers and BO Chaos. You can name them whatever you want. But the good thing about premium tabs that's important for the trade system is with normal tabs you can't put them on PoE.trade. It's got to be a premium tab, and then either you set it public first. You can either individually price each item to whatever currency you want, or set negotiable price and put like a minimum. Say everything in here I'm happy to sell for 1 Chaos Orb each. But if you don't know the pricing, or if you're unsure, it's better to just put individually priced and just list what you want to sell. So it's best offer Chaos or individually priced, and then just have it as your normal number instead. So, but the fact that it's a premium tab, I don't think you even have to worry about that. Like you don't have. This is more for you set it public, and then you can put exact price for all items, like that. But that's gonna do a mass. It's gonna do them all at once. So you just want individually, keep it as the same name, tick, and then you right-click whatever item, and set your negotiable or your exact. So you might not know the price, but you're happy with at least 1 Chaos Orb. And then you put it like tick, and that, see, asking price 1 Chaos Orb, that's already going to be on PoE.trade that people can find it. So that's how the premium tabs work, and that's the main benefit of them. And as well, you can choose the colors and name them for easier sorting. But that's the main point I was trying to show you, is why they're good. And you can also upgrade a normal tab. Like if you don't want to have hundreds of tabs here, don't buy premium tabs. Just in the shop, stash tabs, there's somewhere here premium stash tab. No, that's for a new tab. Upgrade to premium stash tab, so that'll turn one of your normal stash tabs into premium. So if you want all of them to be premium, you need to buy this instead of getting this or the bundle, because that'll add extra tabs, which is good. So you'll have more total tabs, but it actually can get more tedious, especially if you don't name them with single character names. Like for example, if you use negotiable price Chaos Orb, you can't actually rename this because it'll affect the tab. So if I change that 5, see how my Chaos Orb is gone? I have to have it like that. So BO Chaos. So anyway, this is just what I've farmed over 3 days, basically. I've collected some junk, like this is a junk tab, this tab 6, and this is BO Chaos. I'm offering Chaos, Val Gems, which is a corrupted version of a normal skill gem. Sometimes they give you an extra ability on that gem, and some people really like some of the Val Gems, like they're not applicable to all builds. But I noticed that the richer players that are starting new characters that want a certain Val Gem will pay 1 Chaos for them. So I've just been listing them on BO Chaos, just so that I make a little bit of extra Chaos as I go. But it doesn't really matter, like, so 1 Chaos Orb, BO, like that. So everything here is 1 Chaos, unless I set a certain price. So you can still have a BO, like, best offer 1 Chaos, and then you can still set individual prices if you think something might be worth more. And you can just try setting it for 3, and if no one buys it for like 2 days, try setting it down to 1, like 2, and adjust the price depending on how long you want to hold on to it. Or it's just trash and you just got to sell it to a vendor. So anyway, back to the build is I realized that this build that I was doing, that I found, so this might be you too, would be applicable, but, well, this should be applicable to almost anyone. But if it's a good build, it should be able to hold its own through the course of the acts. So all the way to Act 10. As long as you can find decent stuff as you go along and just slowly try to get all the skill combinations together. So what I realized though with this build is when I looked at items, I didn't realize it was such an expensive build. It's got Savior Legion Sword, which is like 15 Exalted, which is hundreds of Chaos Orbs, basically. And, you know, like a fresh player might be lucky to have 20 Chaos Orbs by the time they get to the last act, unless they're trading. So without trading, you might find around 20, 25 by Act 10, unless you're really lucky and you find more. So anyway, 15 Exalted, I don't have that. So all I did was, instead of looking at all these items, to be honest, I didn't even look at the specific stats. All I cared about was the skill combinations, and this is what I recommend you to do. And then when it comes down to stats, worry about the stats later game. When you start realizing that your resists aren't high enough and you're dying a lot, you could check the boots and see what's on it. And you can see here, these boots have got all types of resistance on it. So obviously I need to work on that later. There's crafting in the game that the game teaches you, but it gives it all to you at a pace that makes it easier to learn. So eventually you'll get a crafting bench where you can put your boots, and depending on what your boots have, will dictate what's available to upgrade. So I can actually add certain resistances to this boot. But because I'm at level 70, I can actually get some. This is a level 64 boots. I can actually wait until I unlock some of the higher level stuff that's not unlocked yet. So if I scroll all the way down, undiscovered, I can actually see there's all resistance. But this has already got resistance, so I can't put all. I can only put the other elements. So I can look here. Is there another jewel element? Cold and Chaos, for example. So I still have stuff to unlock. I can craft this onto it. I can craft one of these onto it to balance out my resistances. So I need more Chaos and more Fire, or Fire and Cold at the very least. And don't forget, if you end up not crafting, you can accidentally leave, like, you can actually leave it in the bench. It'll stay there. So I did that with the ring early game. So I want Cold and Chaos, and it doesn't have that. I haven't unlocked it. So Fire and Cold were the two that's useful for my progression. And it works just like that. It tells you what it takes out of your currency or out of your inventory. So it takes that out of my stash, 6 transmute or whatever they're called, and then craft. And it comes up. You can see it there. But see, if I went solo resist, I could actually have a lot more. And it shows the second level that I've unlocked, but I haven't unlocked that with the dual resist skills. So that would equal about 24% total. I could actually get more benefit from just upgrading Fire, but it's expensive, and it already has a mod of this type. So it's got fire resistance on it, so I can't double stack Fire as a solo upgrade, I can only put a separate element or the dual elements because it's got a different thing with it. So as you can see, it wouldn't let me add 38% fire or 35% fire on top of 18% fire built into the boots. So I could add fire and cold, but it's a lower percent, so that's why it works. But you can see, like, if I needed cold resist, which I do, not as much as fire, I could put more percent, but I'm happy with this. But this is just to give you an idea. This crafting you unlock pretty early into the game, so it's just something to be aware of. So basically, when I got to level 60ish, I was using a 4-link. I bought a 6-link, and that was 5 chaos. And then I bought this. I think it was also 5 chaos, or it was all under 10 chaos. These two items, or under 15 chaos. Sorry, I think this was 7 and this was 5. But basically, that's all I've bought off PoE trade to try to speed up my progression. But because I'm playing on a fresh season character, I couldn't afford like 15 exalted. That's crazy. I could only afford a little bit. So I looked for the cheapest things on here that weren't rares, because rares are actually tedious to search for. So for example, if I wanted to search for these are shaper, they're really expensive. If I wanted to search for, just for example, boots like this, see all the stats that's in the blue writing. The main one would be the maximum life and all the resistances, fire resist, cold resist, and 35% move speed, which is crazy. I would basically have to go to PoE trade and to show you, I would have to put in boots, and this is why I haven't searched for rares yet, because I'm not rich enough and I'm not going to waste the time. But you go cold resist, add mod, fire, and what else does boots have? Sorry, I've got like goldfish memory. Cold, fire, and move speed, max life, because I can craft the last one onto it. So increase move speed, and his move speed was like 35%, and then maximum life, a number. But see, I'm not even putting values in, like, because I don't want to try to trade for the exact value, because that's going to be really expensive to get really good rolls like that unless you're rich. So mainly I just want to have those resists on there, and then the top one in the yellow box, the 20% fire and lightning, is probably crafted on. And regenerate to, oh no, that's crafted on. I'm pretty sure there's 2 different crafts on there. One's from crafting and one's from a different upgrade you can get in the game. But basically, I put in the important mods that I might need, the survival mods that's on his boots, and click search, and hope something comes up, which it does. And then I forgot to put the sockets in, so I could either craft the sockets myself, or I could also say I need at least his boots don't actually use that many sockets, because he's got them in different to mine. Like I'm using my gloves and boots are reversed. But just as an example, for boots, he only needs 2 links and then 4 sockets. So 4 sockets, 2 links. If we're running low on chromatic, chromatic to change the colors to match, we need at least the red and the blue linked. So 1 red, 1 blue, and then the other color has to be green. So we need at least 1 green. So we don't even worry about the 4th, because portal gem can go into any. That just opens a portal. The same as the item here, but you can cast it mid-fight, and it's a bit quicker. So, at least I think it's quicker. Like it protects you or something. I can't remember the exact. No, it just creates a portal. 60% increased cast speed. Anyway, so back to the thing. So that's how you would search it, and we just click search, and then it'll come up with anything people have listed that matches that criteria. So there might be random stuff on there that you don't need, or the resist might be low. You might find that, see, that's already 25 chaos orb just for a rare, and I had 15 the other day after playing up to Act 9, and I just got to Act 10. So you can see here how expensive that stuff is. So stuff that's not going to be expensive usually is certain uniques can be pretty cheap. So when I went into here, I searched that first. It was 15 exalted. I searched this, it came up like 5, and then the main modifier on this is Cyclone attack speed, which you get through progression in the game. There's actually a point where you do this thing called the Labyrinth, which is a big maze, and then it's one of the rewards. You can craft skills onto one of your gear, depending on what difficulty labyrinth. So there's one that will let you try to craft cyclone speed or corrupting the item. I can't remember if helmet is actually modifiable through the labyrinth or if it's just through the corruption. Which corrupt is another thing, which is a mechanic in the game where it modifies the item, but then you can never change it again. So you have to be really lucky to get the modification that you want. Without going into too much detail, I didn't worry about that. I just looked at the important skills, like I saw the damage and stuff. Yeah, that's important for a really late game. But the most important one on this, not on this helmet, it was on this amulet, sorry. Not that it doesn't necessarily have to be Elder, although allocates assassination is good. The important one there is the vulnerability at the bottom, which 100% reduced mana reservation. And the reason I knew that it was important is because I'd already started using vulnerability on one of my, where is it? On my gloves, like for the build, and the blasphemy turns into an aura, and then when I activate it, it actually takes a portion of my mana without this amulet. So it was really noticeable. Like I saw that this was eating up my mana, and then when I looked at this item, I'm like, what's the important thing on this item? I saw that, sorry, this one, I saw that it reduces the mana reservation cost. So clearly that's a key item, key mechanic in the build, and it's not expensive. So when I looked up the item to try to buy it in presence, I saw that it was cheap, and so that's what I spent my first chaos on. So, and it helps boost the build. Like other builds will have similar mechanics in them. Like there'll be certain items that help the build to work. Not necessarily crucial, because I could have just had more mana leech, and if my mana leech is high enough, I'm not going to need the mana reservation reduction. But this just helps with headroom for that. So if I search in presence, as you can see here, wait, I've got boot selected. There's a reset button. So if I search in presence, and I just search here, you can actually see that you got to make sure that whatever you search actually has the sometimes there's a certain reason that it's got a certain mechanic on it. So if I look in path of building, you can see that this in presence, it's an elder item, and which gives it a certain other modifier. But the main one is that I think the vulnerability is not on all in presence amulets. Like some certain items will have certain skills, but only it depends. Like, so as you can see here, conductivity has less mana reservation. There's a range of different skills that it can give that modifier for. Okay, so see frostbite, these are all different. So then what I had to do is just add it here. I just put Von. I started typing vulnerability. Reservation. It's here somewhere. I'm just blind. Wait, what's the mechanic called? Sorry. So this is where you have to get the naming right. It's reduced mana reservation vulnerability. So should be here somewhere. Enchant? It's just at the bottom. You need here, so I'm blind. So you could actually just type like the same mechanic. Like if you find the section, I could just type vulnerability has reduced reservation, so like that. So if I had typed that instead, see, I could have just typed vulnerability has and it would have came up. Anyway, so you search for whatever skill it is, whatever unique modifier, and then search, and that because I've got the name in, it'll actually come up now with all of the, and see how it's cheap? It's just for Chaos. And then it also shows modifiers that if there's something else like this allocates Blade Dancer, that's pretty awesome for 4 Chaos. I think that's better than the one that I got because I paid about 5 Chaos for mine. And it's not even enchanted with any skills, as you can see here. So that's tempting actually. What's Blade Dancer? Oh, that's awesome. Wait, so let's see here. Wait. Shift click or come on, dude, please don't be gone already. Sometimes it'll be late and then it's already gone. Or you just have to whisper them a few times. That's actually a nice, that's better than mine, and I can just relist mine. Sell old build. He's selling his old build? It's a nice one. He's probably getting PM'd left and right if he put the whole build in a tab. But yeah, you can see that reservation cost, now it's gone. So yeah, that's basically how I did it. I just used path to building, a bit of PoE trade so that you know how that works. It should already be connected to your account. And you don't have to like, basically if you go on PoE trade, it searches all the other people that are using the premium stash tabs. And this is automatically connected to PoE trade, but you don't actually need an account on PoE trade. It's just built into the game client. They interlinked. But yeah, the main currency is Chaos Orbs. Most people will want to trade for Chaos unless it's a really cheap item. So if it costs Chaos, it's probably strong. And then I've just used my random flasks. Sometimes there'll be unique flasks in the build. Usually if you're lower level, you can just look for Quicksilver flasks because they increase your movement speed. And then you can slowly work, depending on what the build has in it, you can slowly work on getting the different types of flasks that have different effects. So see these two, one's for increased damage, one's for crit chance, is lucky, increased crit chance, and they've actually got modified effects for removing bleeding, which is good for important for high-end content, and removing freeze and chill, which frees you. And if you're a character based on movement, obviously that's really bad, and cursor movement. So then they have like a dual purpose. It's for your move speed or for your increased damage, but then the dual purpose is removing those debuffs that the enemies can give you. And you can basically craft them like using mats you find in the game. Like for example, Reforge is a magic item with new modifiers. So you might have a Quicksilver flask that you want it to have like say I'm missing an anti-curse. I can't craft it onto a unique item, but I can go here and reforge this one and shift left click from this. That's just to keep spamming it from the stack until I get a curse. It might take a lot. See, this is the RNG thing I was talking about, is that you can actually waste a lot of mats. On a flask it's pretty safe because generally like a Quicksilver flask can last you the whole game in the late game. So you might find that you even roll a better version of a flask that you already got, depending on what you're using and what you're rolling. Like Quicksilver, sometimes you'll run multiple. Some builds don't only use one Quicksilver for movement speed, for faster progression. It depends on your build. So some builds will need to have their life and mana flask for survivability or managing their mana. So elemental resist. Where is curse removement? Can I even roll that? Remove freeze and chill. I don't know, maybe they even took it away. And well, I think it was a pretty recent build though. Wait, what kind of flask was it? Quicksilver Flask of Warding. Yeah, it should be rollable. But you can see my bad luck here. Like, this kind of, I've already used nearly all my Orbs of Alteration. I can use Augmentation, which will add a second effect. You can have like up to 2 on a flask. So I can click that. Oh no, it's already got 2, sorry. If I get 1... Oh, this is re-rolling both of them. There we go. So if I get 1, I can add another and try to get what I need. But that's not working either. It's just another way to try to get that curse modifier. But anyway, that's the basic principle behind it. And also, if you get a flask, it's just not like, see how these are in blue. If you get a normal flask that has no modifier, there's also items that'll let you, like, there's a lot of customization in this game. There's usually an item that'll do something as long as it's not too extreme. So a normal item to a magic or a magic to a rare is actually pretty standard stuff you can do. So it's just a transmutation, and then it becomes a rare with certain abilities. But you can't spam that, unfortunately, because it's a rare now. I mean, it's a magical, so I can't. This only works on normal items with white names. So I haven't gone too in depth with the items though. Like, I haven't really told you about the different types, how there's rares and uniques and shaper, and like that's for other modifiers. That's really late game stuff, but you don't really need to know that until you get to that point in the game. That's where you need another guide. This is just for getting started. And so as you can see here, I was trying to trade that dude, but he's AFK or he's already sold it, and he's just not replying because he sold it, which is really sad. Please come back from being AFK. So yeah, you might find a steal, like a really good bargain on something. Did I really close that tab? I'll see if it's gone. Maybe it'll just disappear if I refresh it. No, he should be there. And yeah, so this build's level 73. If you wanted a build and you like Whirlwind, Cyclone, sorry, I'll demonstrate this build now, just so you can see what it's like at Act 10 that I've gotten up to. And so far, apart from dying a few times, because this is a kind of an AoE build, but it's also meant to be single, like all types of content. It's partly because I'm still slightly under geared for the content I'm doing. As you can see, my my rings are level 35, 40. My belt's level 18. This is level 64. Oh, no, these are fairly higher level. 52. See the requires level. That's for the gems. The item level 63, 62, 16, 53. So pretty average stuff. I found this helm, which I was really lucky with. I had to add the sockets, add the links, and do the colors myself, like using my own mats. But it adds to all resistance, which is really strong, and helps with my survivability a lot after doing Kitava. Because there's points in the game that you'll get through, like when you beat the Act 5 boss, you'll actually get a resistance debuff that will lower all your resistances, and you can see my chaos is still at minus 9%. And then when you beat Act 10, there's another like 25% debuff that you get. So just to be aware of that. But I'll show you what this build's like, because this guy's like not going to reply. Maybe he's AFK or he's doing something. He's mapping or something. I'll keep annoying him, trying to get that item. But basically, this is what a high-end build is like when you are a new player. You're broke, but then you go for one of these high-end builds. The reason I recommend these high-end builds is because they have synergy and gem combinations that are way better than just using an average self-made build. So you might play like your own build and go through random passives, random skills, just what you like you're having fun, but there's a point where you'll hit a wall if your synergies aren't good and your skill combinations aren't really optimized for each other. So you might find you get to Act 5 and you just keep dying on the boss and you can't beat the boss. That would mean that either your items are way too weak and you haven't been upgrading them as you go. So if I find like an upgraded sword, all I'd do is I'd look at my main skill. So for example, my main damage dealer is Whirlwind. and you can see here you can select to show your offensive damage by skill. Okay, so I go to Whirlwind, and then what I would do is I would get the item that I picked up. So see, like just having this one sword, my damage is 20,000, or it'll be 5,000, whatever level. And all I do is, this is the quick and easy way to do it, like rather than trying to calculate all the stats, right? Because you can't just look at your physical damage or one certain stat on the item. You've got to look at it all together. And the quick way is to just do this. Unless there's a certain, usually it'll still be added into the calculation though, all the modifiers. So if I do that and I see that one's stronger, then I replace it. And even if my gem was in it, I'll take the gem out, depending on if it was a critical gem. If you're using your main attack skill in that weapon, you have to craft it and have the mats to modify it to fit your gem. So you go back to town and do that. But if it's just like a passive, like this is an AoE, it's not a big deal. I can just take it out and I'll just run it without the gem until I can fix it in town. Or I'll keep the item here and I'll wait till I go back to town and fix it up later. And just keep running whatever I'm running. And then just adjust it later on. But the main point is that you know how to do that. You can select it. Don't have it on main damage, default attack, because then it's going to give you completely different numbers that's not related to your main attack skill. So you can see 5,000 and it's actually 28,000 for your actual skill damage. So that's how you kind of keep track of what you're upgrading. And so if you find a new ring, if the ring is a defensive ring, like it's mainly got, you're worried about defense because your survivability is low and it's not adding to your damage too much, then you just want to be on the defense tab and swap that ring out in and out to make sure that it's not going to remove stats that you need, like see how items turn red, and to make sure that it's adding positively to your stats or to your HP. Okay, so once you have that, that's basically how you can play through the game, just using that basic concept of upgrading as you go. And if it's only a tiny upgrade and then you're gonna have to lose some sockets, it's not worth it. It's only when there's a noticeable, like, an extra 500 damage, that's good. But if it's like an extra 50 damage and you got to roll 3 new sockets and link them, obviously that might not be worth using the mats because it's just like a waste of materials really for such a minor upgrade. So this is what this build is like in Act 10. There's no difficulties as far as I can tell. The difficulty is we're beating the Act 5 and 10 boss that will lower your it lowers your resistances. So as long as you can keep on top of your resistances going from after beating Act 5, and they're still fairly decent, they're not all negative, then you can probably just keep progressing and get to Act 10. And then after beating Act 10, that's when stuff might really get hard if your build or your items are underpowered, or if you spec too much into damage and not enough into survivability. Then obviously you either need to respec or work on PoE trade and farming in an easier act to get the items that you need to boost your survivability. Or you just need to trade for some items that'll give you more resistance. Like check in your build description and see which ones are adding the most resistance and health. Like you can see this ring adds, it's actually a good blend on all his items. He's blended damage and HP. But there's certain, like for example, you can use a certain type of belt that gives you mainly damage. Like my level 18 belt, it's only a sash, and sashes add 24% increase global. All sashes do that. See the skill at the top. Any sash will add a certain amount of global physical damage, and that's giving me a big damage boost to my whirlwind skill. If I take it off, I'm losing like 1k damage. Not a huge damage boost, but you know, I'm losing like 1800 damage from that. But you can see on his stash, it's mainly it is a more expensive belt, but you can see it's mainly adding armor and life and resistance. So even though there's 20% increased damage he's crafted onto it, that's what I'm missing. If I start dying a lot, I would look at this and go, oh, that's where he's getting resistance, and my belt's got no resistance, so I better craft something or buy something or start farming for a more survivable belt and take away the damage on it because I don't need it. Maybe I'm doing plenty of damage. So that's just how you do it on the fly. And what is this? Control blocks. Wait, I'm looking for control blocks. Okay, so I'm at the wrong part of this map. I could actually just teleport with the waypoint. So yeah, hopefully that's a good explanation for you guys that are new to PoE or getting back into it. That's the kind of refresher. If you want something more in depth, just let me know and I'll do a video on it. But yeah, you can see here this is a solid build if you want to try it out. It's just search Cyclone Berserker. It should come up with Phoenix. That's the guy that did the build. If you want a more detailed explanation of how all the synergies work, but it is pretty straightforward. I just want to give props to him because it is an awesome build. He's got some other new Whirlwind builds out, a Slayer version that's maybe less tanky because it's a different class. But he released that after I started this Marauder, so I'd have to roll a new character if I want to copy his exact build. But I'm already pretty happy with the Marauder as it is. I might see how far I can push this, or I'll roll a Slayer to copy his newer build to try it out, see if it's faster. But as well, he does spend a lot of his. I think his Slayer build is still like at least 10 exalted for some of the gear on it. So, you know, it turns into a point where if I'd spend if I don't have exalted to buy any of the gear, I might be better off sticking to the one build that I've started and getting it to a point where I can farm late game content to farm currency, and then worry about buying stuff later when I'm actually rich. Because it would leveling a new character all the way and then not having any farm, it's going to be pointless. I'll have another level 70 with no gear, and that whole time I could have farmed maybe I could have farmed a few exalted in that time if I just kept trying to progress the one character. So you can see that was the content Delirium portal that I ran through, that mirror thing that changed the color of the game, kind of like Shaper Realm, but now it's Delirium Realm. So they did kind of reskin there, but it's got its own voiceovers and stuff, which that's enough for me. Like compared to what some other ARPGs do for their new content, like they just literally refresh the season and don't really add anything new looking. These guys have been adding to the storyline, like PoE, grinding your games. They've been adding lots of content and modifying stuff as they go and adding new skills, improving the graphics, improving the optimization. So to be honest, I'm pretty happy with this season. I think a lot of veteran players, there's a Reddit, and there's veteran players saying this season sucks, like it's not that good. They've changed too much for their taste, or they haven't added enough unique content. But to be honest, for the player base this game has and the support it's got, I think it's good. But I had a longer break though. If I'd been playing constantly, maybe I would be a bit salty if they didn't give me enough fresh content to add on to my current playtime. But that's people playing every day though, and I have to play, like, this is 3 days. Maybe later I'd feel like them, but as it is, I'm pretty happy with all the fresh content that they're giving. I'm looking for a control block. Like mapping, for example, I liked RNG with mapping. It's pretty unique endgame that gives you a lot of stuff to do. And then we already get 10 acts. I mean, that's way more than some other games do. But yeah, I'm not trying to sell the game or promote the game or anything. I'm just speaking my mind on it. So you can see here my gems are leveling up because they're lower level. Like I switched them in the Val ones really recently. That is Val Cyclone. It's really big and it sucks everything up. Pretty cool. It's actually not part of this build. This build just uses normal Cyclone, and I just found the Val one and thought, why not? It's fun. There's some areas where it's applicable, but it's not useful all the time. It can get you killed against ranged, certain ranged mobs will kill you if you're trying to use Val Cyclone. because it won't pull them in from super far away, and they can just keep hitting you. So here's another Delirium. So you can see it's like a mirror, and there's a copy of me running around. And when you walk into it, it activates, and see down here, that's the type of reward you're going to get. So it's something to do with Labyrinth. I don't know what exactly that symbol means, but basically the more you kill in the Delirium world, the better your drops get. And you can see it's got to 1. It can actually change. There can even be new icons that'll come up after you've killed enough mobs. So this is why I'm level 73 and it's only a level 66 zone, because every time a Delirium mirror has come up, I've cleared the whole map, or as much as I can, because it's on a timer. And basically I've tried to unlock as much rewards as I can. So I'm unintentionally farming. Like, even though I'm not trying to power level myself, I've been farming this Delirium stuff for the better drops. So you can see I've got it level 2 now. But if you're not quick enough, or if your damage isn't high enough, you'll notice that the timer will suddenly come up at the top of the screen, like it'll say 5 seconds. And the way you make it go away to extend it, unless you've reached the limit, sometimes there's a limit for that map, is what I gather. See, that was the limit there. I couldn't make it go further. Sometimes, like if I'm over here and then the timer comes up, all I had to do was run into the next room and spawn more mobs, and then the timer will go away, and you can keep trying to boost your reward. So that was the type of drop I got from that content. It's modified items. They've got special stats on them. So you can see my movement ability is Leap Slam. And this build is just wiping everything so far up to Act 10. Obviously it's not the same as mapping though, because mapping is a different type of content. But for what this build is, like this is like a 15 chaos worth of gear that I've got on, and the rest is just found. It's solid. Only some bosses that have certain AoE attacks you need to kite. Like the one when I died on Kitava, it's because I wasn't kiting properly. I was just trying to DPS him in a corner, and all I had to do was use my Leap Slam a bit more, and then I was able to kill him. But I've soloed everything up until this point without much issue. Even the Temple of Arist, whatever it's called. Temple of Aristotle, which is like another event in the game that you can get randomly spawns. I've left the one up there actually, that's for the temple. I'll show you how the temple works, because this is a random spawn that you'll get as you play. And it's good to know. Like, you can just Google it when you come up to it on how to do it. But I'll show you what it's like if you don't know. So you see this girl that'll appear once you get to a certain point of the game, Alva. And what it is, it's like a temple that you basically go back in time into the rooms of the temple and modify them, and that affects the outcome of, you eventually discover the temple, like the location, and whatever you do in these incursions, these portals, you go back in time to that room, and then you can modify it so that when you finally discover the temple in the real world or real time, it's going to be modified to what you've done in the past. So that's the story behind it anyway. So basically, the way that you do it is you look at these are the two bosses in the room. This symbol is to change the room. Like, see how it's like an arrow going 2 ways. So that'll change it to a Gemcarter's Workshop, which contains chests full of gems. And right now it is a engineering department, which increases item yield and life of the Omnitech and monsters. So it makes the monsters a bit harder, but gives more items. So I could, if I wanted, I could change it into a gem room, so that the room has gems. But you can only pick one. So I either want it to be a gem room, or I can upgrade it further to tier 2. See how there's a 1 here? 1. So I can turn it into tier 2, and by killing the top boss. But you can only pick one of these. So I'll do the top one, And then, as you can see here, there's passageways through the temple, and this room is sealed off. So if I don't unlock one of these, and then I've discovered the temple where I go in the entrance, it's like a whole zone that you can play. The workshop won't be unlocked if I don't open one of these passageways. Now, here's the hard part. You have to remember the passageway you want to open, and then when you spawn in, you're on a timer that only goes up if you kill mobs. So you're on like it's like 15 seconds you got, and you got to kill mobs fast enough while also trying to kill the boss, and then eventually one of the mobs will drop a stone key to unlock one of the passages. So you've got to like hectically try to kill everything, kill your boss, unlock the passage. If for example, like obviously I'm going to get one of these other ones later with another incursion. I might want this connection. I want to connect workshop to strongbox chamber. So you see how there's two below it? You can see which one's highlighting on the thing. Over here you can see it highlight. So I need to do top boss if I want to upgrade it, and then the bottom stone passage. Okay? So that's how it works. Just wait, I'll just activate my can't afford Vitality or Pride. Oh no, I can do Pride. So you can see there, that's what I can run with my Mana Leech. So here we go. Hopefully I don't just die instantly. So you can see on the map, it's actually a pretty big zone, and you can see the timer at the top. So I want to kill this boss here. And then I want to unlock the bottom passageway. So I need to make sure that I kill fast enough. And then I just quickly go here and unlock, which I've done. And then I just see if the monster's killed, you get drops for the more monsters you kill. So if I can kill a lot of monsters, I'll get slightly better drops just from the single incursion, not in the temple itself. Although this is inside the temple. And if there's time left, that was it. I can teleport out early, and I think that might help. I'm not 100% sure. No, it didn't help. So you can see I got some random drops here, and that was the first incursion. And so now you can see it upgraded to level 2 engineering department, and now it's connected to the strongbox chamber. So whether I can unlock the higher rooms or not, like with the apex boss, at the very least I've got access to all these rooms and I have 11 incursions left before I discover the temple. So there's a lot of, it's kind of fun. It's a nice mechanic that they've added, that they've got in the game. I'm not too fast. Armor is scrap though. So yeah. Oh, that was the main thing with the Val Gems. That's why Val Gems not listed in his build, is because see how this Val Cyclone is 9%? I'm not sure if you can actually upgrade the quality. There's a way to upgrade the quality of gems. There's like a gem cutter stone or something like that. And I think there's like a max quality 20%. It basically improves the properties of the skill. So that's probably why he didn't list Val a Val gem, because you can't level the quality, I don't think. Just see if I can find another room. Where are the rooms? Over here. Yeah, there we go. There's other incursion. There's usually, if you find one incursion in the zone, there'll be a few more. I think around 3. So corruption chamber, I want it to be left, so bottom. And then that one reduces my resistances. That's kind of crappy. Architect of Corruption allows you to sacrifice a unique item. That sounds more fun. So I want the bottom boss to change the room, and the bottom passageway to connect it to engineering department. So that's easy to remember. Down and down. Here he is. Excuse me. No. I think that was it. There we go.
I cannot carry this.
I'm already full of stuff. Wonder why a 6 socket is. I guess it can be used for crafting, but it's only item level is 57, so that's why I won't even bother. Has to be higher item level, I think. Someone can just flame me in the comments if it's dumb to drop that. But I'm looking for wanted to study this bone rapier. 83% increased physical, 124, 79. Maybe it's stronger than that. Nope. Guess not. Because this one adds critical strike chance as well. This one doesn't have it. Oh, it's worth a look. And we get another incursion. Just wait, I'm just gonna get rid of all these mobs. But yeah, you can see if you want to play really fast, like this build can do that. It's pretty awesome. You could even just take an element, like as you make your own builds or change different builds later, as you create more characters, you could decide that this combination is really good for melee builds, close combat builds, and see how it says spend life instead of mana, that blood magic. That's why I can use that even when I'm home, and it can actually help me get mana back if I was low on mana at any point. But you could decide that gem combination is strong, and you could literally just use it in a different build and replace that build's movement skill, because they might have something else. It's just something to be aware of. Anyway, so Pits already has access. If I would go into the temple though, I want to be able to go like left to right, and it makes it easier when you're inside it. So ideally I want Pits to connect to Sacrificial Chamber, but I can see my Lightning Workshop's not connected. So I could either unlock a room that's locked, or I could just connect it for convenience sake. Otherwise I'll have to go here, 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 and then back to here to go to here. So I'll go for bottom right, and then currency items, Architect of the Arena. So I'll kill the bottom boss, and then, because that can give you Chaos Orbs. And that actually makes the whole temple harder if they get increased crits. So I want down and up, basically. Down and up or lower. I swear though, Phoenix wasn't joking when when he said that his Cyclone build like melts everything. If you want to see stuff melt, even without the proper weapons at this point in the game, it's so nice already. But yeah, I saw in the comments actually for one of his builds, like someone was saying like a budget build doesn't have like a 15 exalted item in it, but he never listed it as a budget build. But I think that's what people they see it and hope that it's going to be cheap to do. and then they might just be put off the build because they thought, well, I'm never going to get 15 exalted. Well, here you go. This is how a build, like one of those, you know, here we go, change to Vault. This is how one of those YouTube builds that's been crafted already, like by a player, one of those endgame builds runs. Like, it's so much stronger than just a normal build that you'd put together yourself, unless you theory craft and path of building, like, experiment for ages to make your own. For a casual player, this is already super OP. Like, you could really enjoy it. Actually, I'm pretty sure, like, I can actually go out of this, yeah, I can still go out. I'm pretty sure that the reason I want 6 is because players will buy them for doing their, like, they're trying to get their gem combinations. So sometimes people will pay like a chaos or two to get that, and then they'll just modify it into a rare or whatever. But I filled this up. I think that's garbage. Right, I need to put this somewhere. Okay, so that hasn't been selling. Just vendor that. But I'll put this here. For 1 chaos because it's not linked. Like, obviously there's stuff that might be worth more if you really take the time to research everything, but then you'd spend more time doing that than playing. But yeah, one thing I also noticed is that a lot of the explanation, like a lot of the builds on YouTube, don't have that much gameplay recording. Like, you don't actually see what they're doing when they're not killing monsters, and how they're managing their inventory, or what they're like, you know, that all that kind of stuff, the trading side of it. That's actually a pretty nice ring. That's hard.
We live in interesting
Yeah. Crit chance, critical strike multiplier. See, I'm not 100% sure here. Like, I'm not a mathematician. So I do have to check. 26, 20, no, that's crap.
Hello. Remember, we do this for freedom.
I knew he was AFK. It's probably gone by now, though. I don't know why anyone wouldn't buy that, but he could have been AFK the whole time. But that is so nice, Blade Dancer. It's like a nice passive to have without having to try to craft it yourself. What did I want to check here? Currency improves the quality of a gem. Cyclone. It's corrupted. Yeah, so that's why. That's the reason some builds, even though the Valve versions give you better, like they give you the extra ability, the reason, obviously, as you can see here, that someone wouldn't run it is because you cannot improve the quality of a Valve gem. So it's nice that it's 9%, but I'd rather just do that. And yeah. So I wonder what I could put that for. Valve Cyclone 9%. Valve Cyclone. Let's just see if it comes up. Like, people are selling it for, yeah, it's worth almost nothing. And then if I put the There's modifiers for everything here. So down here somewhere, quality 9%, and they're worth a little bit more, maybe 1 chaos at 9%, at 9% quality. You can see the quality, that one's actually 14 quality. So these are actually really high, so it's not worth much at all. The only thing I could possibly hope for is if I list it as BO Chaos, and then I happen to be one of the only ones online with one, and someone just happened to want one at the time, then, or they'll just offer something else. Sometimes people will still make offers. They'll say, I'll give you Val Orbs, which let you corrupt something unpredictably. And sometimes I'll give you Val Orbs because they're like worth a bit less than Chaos Orbs. And you can still get something for an item that you would have otherwise vendored for crap all. So you see that mission complete? That was from doing all of the incursions for the temple. So actually I will go back here. And do you reckon someone might want a Steelwood bow? Maybe. Wait, why is she still there? Oh, I didn't. No, I did do it all. 9 incursions remaining. So yeah, she just appears in random zones once you get to a certain part of the game. It's just an extra feature. You don't have to do them. Like, she's not gonna like disappear forever if you don't do them. You could leave them for later if you're busy trying to just do the story. But at least you know how that temple stuff works. Because at first I was like, what the heck do I do? And it was pretty confusing. Oh, this is a boss? Oh, it is. Holy crap. So there you go. You can still die even when you've been melting everything. A boss can just rape you really easily. Come on, damage. Oh, he's doing like a ghosting over the top of my head. Jeez. Where is he? Come back out and fight me. It was those lasers, I think. I stood in the lasers, like they just caught me straight up. I don't want to get caught those lasers. Yeah, it's not his blast from the sky, it was the lasers. They were like a one-hit kill. I've never done this boss before, or I don't remember doing it. Maybe I did ages ago. Oh, what the heck? What the heck? Why does he keep running away? Well, something hit me, I don't know. He died pretty easy after that first death. That was weird. Anyway. I never said I didn't die, but...
You return from freedom comes to those who fight.
Yeah, and if you get one of each color in a link, you can trade it for chromatic orb. That's something you should know early. There's certain items that are worth picking up. If you've set the loot filter on, they should still show up anyway, and you'll figure out which ones are worth it. I still have to look up why some 6 socket items are worth way more, are appearing as if they're really valuable. Because I didn't see them seem to trade for anything special. Oh no, it sells for 7 jewelers orb. There we go, that's why.
for freedom.
And one thing you should also know here is in the trade, you can actually go to your main PoE.trade and then there's currency market. So you could actually see Chaos Orb, how many Jewelers Orb of Chaos is worth. So you could either sell your 6-socket item, it's 22. So you could try to sell your 6-socket item for 1 chaos and hope that someone just needs one and they don't wanna farm for one. But yeah, so that these six sockets that no one's buying, like no one's bought them for days, that I've had just sitting here. That's a 6 link though, and they could see that they could craft on that. That makes it worthwhile even for level 60. They might just want a quick and easy rare, and they've got 7 chaos because they're rich. Like they've been playing longer. But stuff that hasn't been selling, that I've just had sitting here, maybe because it doesn't have enough links. I think that'll sell eventually. I could try lowering it down to 5. But you see this stuff here. I'm glad I didn't throw them away. I thought they were valuable for something because the filter was making them come up, and they're in like they're in an orange border, like they're almost like a unique drop. So there's a bunch of Jeweler's orbs. So yeah, also that's good to know for beginners. You should know that the vendors have special recipes. If you've been watching this long, then yeah.
Yes. Greetings.
But yeah, the quest system is pretty straightforward though. Like you press U to bring up your axe, and then depending, like you'll be in the starting town, you just click the quest that you're up to, and it'll put a icon on it and show you where you have to travel. So I've got that waypoint, so I can find it from there, and it's in their reliquary. Anyway, back to my build. I got another damage boost. I think Molten Shell does proc off my cast on damage taken. I don't know. Anyway, I was done in control blocks. This turned into a way longer video than I'd planned, but hey. I also had the volume turned down a little bit for talking. Yeah, I won't go too into depth with teaching you what items are worth picking up and what aren't, because you'll have to learn that as you play. You'll start to realize some items are just really crappy and not worth the space, unless you're looking for an upgrade. Like if you're looking for, like for example, there's different types of boots. Some boots are specific to certain builds. So see, this is a intelligence boot or a dexterity boot, but basically you can tell by what it gives you. So see how it's got evasion rating and energy shield? That's usually for a caster type of build. So if I check this boot, it has, oh, it's got dex on it, but it's more tailored for caster or agility type builds. So you can see it's got evasion and energy shield, while my boots here use strength as their main one. Because of the type of boot it is, it's a Goliath Greaves. So Greaves are usually strength and armor based, so you can see the armor is really high. But the main criteria I have for boots is movement speed. Like, it's nice if it's got resistances, but the movement speed's a must because it helps with your clear speed and obviously progression. But you can craft move speed too. You can modify it onto some boots, so onto most boots. So if it's like got really good other stats, you might still want them. But yeah, that's the reason I didn't pick up just random rares, because it's just too much hassle. I need the reliquary. One annoying thing about Leap Slam though is that it's got a cast range. So you see if I click over here, it's not going to start casting if it's too far away. So I'm holding shift click, it's not casting. Maybe if it was on right click it would cast. Nope. So it's range based. So yeah, that's the reason you always see me with the mouse close to the screen. Because I can't actually make it cast if I go all the way too far out. It's hard to make it work. There's like a line where it can go to. Maybe there's a setting and I just haven't seen the setting in the game menu. Cast like towards the direction of the cursor. But it's no big deal. So see the reward here on this one, on this Delirium. If I kill enough mobs, the reward is jewelry. Sad. It is worth picking up res though, because if you've got the spare inventory space and you don't mind traveling back to town often, you can make good money on some rares. Certain stats on rares, if you learn enough about what stats are important for certain builds, certain combinations of stats can be worth like multiple chaos, like 10, 15 chaos if it's a good combination of stats. So in that, from that perspective, it's good to pick up gloves, boots, even chest pieces, and helmets. But it depends. Like you could always identify them on the spot and then throw them out if they're not good. But you're gonna be just spending more time doing that because you'll fill up much quicker picking up every single rare. Oh, I'm still going on this Delirium. So you can see the timer goes away when I move. The more I progress through the area. But there's a limit. Like eventually it'll just keep counting down. Because I tried it, like I tested it a bunch of times. I thought maybe it'll keep giving me more time if I keep traveling, and I traveled like across the whole map, and it reset a few times. The timer went away from traveling, and then eventually it just started counting down, and it didn't matter how far I traveled. So I was confused though, because I'm like thinking it might be kill based, but I was killing stuff too. There's like a cap to how much you can extend the timer. So basically you just want to kill stuff really quick. Okay, so what else am I missing? Damage stuff, I think it was over here somewhere. Swift skewering, is that the one? But yeah, this is why path to building is important, so you can just reference it. Yeah, swift skewer. And this is a corrupted zone, which gives can give good stuff. And at the end of every corrupted, there's Val gems. You need a certain skill gem. So you might just want to get a higher... Oh, that's what I should have done actually. I'm stupid. When I upgraded my Val Molten Shell, I should have maxed out the quality. Oh well, I'll do that in the future now. Now that I know exactly. Because I did my first temple earlier, and I had a room that lets you upgrade a normal gem to a Val gem. So I upgraded a Val Molten Shell because I need it for my build. But I didn't upgrade the quality, so my Val Molten Shell was level 0, so that's what I got. Sad. I was actually thinking about that, like how could you get a high quality Val gem? It's just... yeah. But I'll get it again, like the incursions are pretty common. If you're just looking for them, all you gotta do is just play the game. But I did notice that when I was doing my own builds, like just random stuff, trying different combinations, they did turn out much weaker because I didn't theory craft them properly and calculate, you know, what's going to be the best combination of skills and stuff to use. And stuff like the temple were almost impossible on a standard, like a casual build basically. On casual builds it's really hard to do temple. Oh, is that nice? And this is the new Delirium jewels that they add to your passives. So they work like this. This is in Delirium. Normally you can put gems into special sockets within the passive tree. And the gems will just have a few stats, like you can see this one adds lightning damage, crit, and damage with one hand. But this new type of cluster, it can add extra jewel sockets, so you can still add jewelry inside it. But what it does is it does this. It adds extra passives. So you can respec, or you might find that this will add a skill that you want that's far away. You might just be able to get it from here. Because they can have all different types of passives, right? So if instead of going all the way that way, you cancel that, save all your points, and just put the points. It would only cost 3 points, 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you'd have this nice passive, and then you can still get a gem if you have a gem that you wanted to put. But the total points could be cheaper than going branching off somewhere far away. And there's all different types, like they can have multiple. You could have like three really nice passives and 2 gem slots. Jewel slots if you're really lucky. So it's just to be aware of. And then see the name adds 11 passive skills. That's for the total count. And then one of them in the dark blue, one is drive the destruction, and one is the extra socket. So in total there's 9 smaller skills. That it's actually worse. You want to have less passives, less total at the top, and then more of the actual skills at the bottom, so that there's less smaller. Well, sometimes it can be good, it depends on what it is, but so there's less, so that you can get to these easier basically. But because I don't have I haven't played this spec long enough to customize my own, I won't use that yet. I've been saving these, but basically I want to get one that's got similar to these up here, so that I can spec out of them. Because you could, for example, if I found a cluster that's got something like this, or something equivalent to these, then I would obviously just put it down here, and then I would need to just get a medium cluster, because you can go from large to medium to small. So if you can get a large, it's got, see how it's got passive skill is a jewel socket, you can get that more than once, but it has to have it. Sometimes they don't have it at all, and then you can branch out, like what he's done on this other build that I got from the same Phoenix guy. You can see here he's put a cluster, and then his cluster jewel is like a rare. It had 2 more jewels on it for medium jewels, so he got magnifier, titanic wings, like it's a 2-handed cyclone build. But that's so epic. And then it's also, because it's 10 passive skills, it's actually not that many to get to these. Fuel the Fight, Mana Leech, Impale on hit. But yeah, basically that's why his Slayer build doesn't even bother going all the way over here looking for a sword and crit multipliers, and he also only goes up to disemboweling up here. Oh no, he still gets disemboweling, so that's actually what his Marauder build does. But see, this is a different class type of build. It's very similar though. So I could modify the Marauder build to match this and just use his Marauder spec. But this is what I mean by the clusters though, how good they can be. So he's still got gems, but he's used cluster jewels, and then he's got his gems on the end. He actually turned 1 gem, jewel socket, sorry, into 2 jewel sockets. And then he's got nice passives combined. But you have to be lucky to find that. Like, I haven't found something worthy yet. Is it Reliquary? Yeah, that's the one I wanted. no, 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 no. Come on. No. Couldn't extend it any further. Card. Oh well, they'll be there when I come out.
I cannot carry this.
And see how quickly this build takes damage if you just stand still for too long. Sad. Oh, I can't hold it. Why did I pick that up? I don't know. I wanted to just rest here and look at my items. Physical accuracy. No. Got too much stuff.
Hello.
Can never have too many chromatics. Sad.
For freedom.
Alright, you can also use your modifications on those cluster jewels to like change the modifiers and upgrade them to rares if you want. So they're worth hanging on to if you don't have time to like sit there and stare at what they do. So these are my rares over here. But yeah, with the large though, like if you put a large down, you can only put medium into the large and small into the medium if they have extra jewel sockets. Wish I could store these here. They'll only go in the no, they won't even go in the bottom area. These are for mapping. I think I'm not sure if they changed it where they don't do anything anymore. Like I don't know how they've modified it. But basically, if you add these fragments when you're doing maps, they're supposed to help improve the quality of the map. but I'm not 100% sure on that. It was ages ago that I read that. It's probably changed by now, and it doesn't. Maybe they do nothing unless they're just used with each other. But I'm getting a ton of these Sacrifice at Dusk, so I'll have to test it later. And if you get spare gems and you're not using, you'll have a stash called your guild stash. That's actually what you can use between your characters. So instead of tossing away skill gems, like normal skill gems, not Valve in particular, instead of tossing them, I just lowered the price. You can place them in your guild stash, so that your other characters will have access to whatever skill gems instead of for random builds and stuff. Might be worthwhile for you. No. I guess if anything, it's just going to be another sash until I can get a Stygian Vice. Stygian.
Yes. Remember.
Oh, there's also recipes for getting Chaos Orbs if you're really broke, but I think the drop rate in the game's good enough if you got a fast clear speed nowadays. But there's something you can do where if you get a certain level, like you're getting level 65 items, like item level 65 when you hold Alt, if you put together a set like this, but this is not 65, these are only like level 62 and stuff. But I'm pretty sure if you put together a set like not these two, but you know, two hands or a two-handed weapon or two one-handers or one-handed shield, your necklace, two rings, and all that stuff. You can trade it to a vendor, all of it together, and if it's unidentified, you'll get, I think, 2 Chaos Orbs, and if it's identified, you'll get 1 Chaos Orb, depending on the level of the items. Like, see, these probably won't work because it has to be 65, but I put this here just as an example. See, I don't even know if it's worth picking this stuff up because it takes up so much inventory space, especially that one. I won't bother with that. So stuff, and I was already in desecrated chambers not that long ago, but I think I was distracted. Maybe by my kids.
Nothing shatters sanity quite
Oh.
blind faith.
So the synergies in this build are good enough that you could use it as a leap slam build. It's funny. Maybe not on the rares that easily. Yeah. You just put a different chest piece with a different set of skills instead of Cyclone, and this build would be compatible as something else. Another melee type of damage build. Melee. It's not as satisfying as Cyclone though. Cyclone's definitely a bit faster. Ooh, monsters reflect physical. This might be hard. I might die instantly. Yeah. Damn. So what's the counter? This means I can't do this? Reflect physical. I can heal through it if I space out my leaps, but if I use Cyclone, I damage myself too fast. Lol. Yeah. it's not that like ideal, but it works. Because the timing of leap slam's a bit slower, so the physical reflection is not so painful. What's this? Corrupted.
I cannot carry this.
Corrupted something. I'm not gonna waste time going back to town. 81%. Nah, I can't do anything with that actually. All the way there for a corrupted portal.
I cannot carry this.
Hello. Remember,
I have no idea if this unique's worth anything. Probably not, but whatever. Put it over here to my possible stuff. Leave. Okay, so what I wanted to check was, can I Valorb a normal gem? without going to a special temple. Yeah, I can. Huh. But it's not showing as... like it's corrupted, but it's not Val. It's not Val corrupted, okay, I get it. So that's kind of useless.
Yes,
Just means I can't upgrade the quality.
for freedom.
So to Val corrupt, I have to use the special... yeah, okay. I need to stop picking these up. There are way too many.
Freedom comes to those who fight. For freedom.
Oh no. Please don't be super strong, dude. I don't want a boss fight that's gonna rape me.
Bannon was a man.
Pretty average. This one. I think it's better, but definitely better. But that's Word of Tempest on hit. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm not strapped for gear at the moment.
Remember, we do this.
This is the one I wanted. In Pantheon, there was something to do with Reflect. 25% reduced reflected damage. I don't even know if that really matters though. I don't think it'll save me. I don't know. 8 innocents at Kataba's horns. Where's that? What the heck is that? Ravistoria Square. There? This will be where I die a lot on Katava, the Act 10 final boss, I think.
Katava will welcome you with open shores.
freedom.
One sec. There was something to do with like duplicate items that there was like a trade or something that they can be valuable for. So I'm just gonna check if these circlets that dropped count as duplicates and whether they have to be identified or not. Yeah, it gives me a rare. That's kind of lame. At least they're all different, kind of. No, those aren't.
Greetings.
So if I don't like them, 4 or 5, I can get another one. And it ends up being better. Not really. Now what are these? These worth anything? I'll worry about it later. I want to see if I can kill the boss. One other thing I had to look at was... wait. That doesn't seem worth it. I swear there's other like attack speed ones. Yeah, channeling attack speed. It's Cyclone. You'd think that this would be the better way. Instead of over here wasting all the points. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 6. Seven, 8. What level is this? 95. Anyway, I was just checking something on my build. Oh, on this build. If I'm sure one of these might be nice. I just don't have time to search all of them individually. Oh, that's what I was checking. Skills and the max level. You also have to check this when you're doing a build. If it says like max level, most of the people probably already stopped watching at this point, but you have to actually make sure the gem levels are not capped for some reason. So see how this one has Blood and Sand level 6. It can be because for some reason having a high level Blood and Sand takes too much mana. Like instead of like increasing the... oh no, that might be max. It's max for Blood and Sand, sorry. There's other ones here though, like Summon Holy Relic that can go higher, cast when damage taken can go higher. But basically it's got to fit into the requirements of the build, so either it uses too much mana or it doesn't work at a certain level, like cast when damage taken level 14 also triggers on a certain amount of damage, and then if you boost it too high it can make that damage amount too high. So see how it's at level 14 that he recommends, it's gems up to level 64 and 64 requirement. So Summon Holy Relic at level 18 is already 64 requirement, so you can't go past that without breaking the synergy. And same with Val Molten Shell 64 at 18. And Stone Golem is 64 at 16. So basically, if I want to upgrade this, I can go up to 18. It's 17 at the moment, requires level 64, next level. If I find it here, it's boosted from a gem. Plus 1 level from a gem. So it's level 18 already. But it looks like if I level it, the plus 1 from gem doesn't yeah, it should be, so I can level it 1 more, I think. Yeah, level 64, and then it's actually level 19, but because of the helmet is actually boosting it. It's interesting anyway. Sorry for leaving that out earlier when I was explaining path building. Hopefully the people that were watching for that content don't make that mistake. Otherwise I'm going to have to do a take 2 of this video to stop them complaining that I didn't tell them. Although this wasn't like a tutorial specifically on path building, it's just more of a quick start guide, like what do? You just want to get a character to start your farm up and you're new to the game. Most people that are new don't even know about path building, you know, so at the very least they've learned a new program, and I had to learn the level requirement thing on my own. Like I was looking at the I literally leveled a gem too high and then had it stop working for the synergy of what I was using. Like it was with a cast on critical, so see this one, cast on crit, cast on damage taken. So this cast on damage taken support gem triggers these spells, so it automatically summons the Stone Golem and the Holy Relic and cast Molten Shell when I take damage, a certain amount of damage. And I had to figure it out for myself, actually, how that worked, because I leveled the gem too high and then I noticed it wasn't casting anymore, and then when I moused over it, it was like red, and then when I checked it here, it turned like that. It was like there was a different tooltip on it, basically saying that it was too high. So there is a learning curve where you have to learn little intricate details like that. It's hard to cover absolutely everything because there's so many mechanics in this game. But hopefully they'll be alright. I think the treasure icon is for uniques. Ooh, something. I hope I get a drop that's worth like a few exalted. That would be so nice. But yeah, you can see this isn't really an FPS test video. I haven't got my normal overlay running, but you can see the FPS. There's a few dips when you go between zones or going into the menu. I think might dip it. No. But the more important thing is that it's smooth, that it feels smooth, and on my end it feels very smooth. I forgot the timer was on. Wonder if there's a dagger build that... Nope. It's trash. What's this? It's trash. Looks like it. Are you serious? Heck. So there we go. That was Act 10.
By the light of Ramako, you did it. You, a mortal, have crossed the threshold between God and man and struck the ravenous. Remember,
I'll come right hand.
I suspect you're about ready for a flagon of ale. And a pretty wench or swain, whatever it...
Welcome. Fate awaits you.
Ah, it's gone. Sad.
Always keep your eyes on the
By the muscular golden arse of innocence. What was that? Got my eye on you. The courts haven't been secured yet. Ready for a tussle. The abominations left into the carpet waiting to run slack towards Search and destroy, men! We'll clear a path! There's the office of the man himself. Surgeon's dead. That's what we need. Let's head to the residence on the other side of The Vault of Venarius has been sealed for years. No telling what might be inside. There's a haunting odor in the air. Be wary. Men! Hurts my eye just to look at. Hurts my eye. I think I can put it. The device seems stable now, though I've no inkling where its portals may lead. My instinct as a tracker usually gives me some sense of direction.
So now I'm up to mapping. I'll probably do mapping on another video because it's got its own, long explanation. This is already at 3 hours. If you've bothered watching this far, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Just be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you like the content, and just ask for anything in the comments if you want me to go in more into detail in any aspect of the game. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys. Take care.